Don't you dare lie to me again! You think I wouldn't find out after everything?
I swear I didn't mean for any
You
of this
blew
to
it.
happen.
You blew all of it. Look at me.
I am looking at you. I'm sorry. I don't
Sorry
know what
doesn't
else
fix
to
this.
say.
Sorry doesn't erase what you did.
Please stop yelling. You're scaring
Whoa!
me.
Step to the side, hands where I can see them. Sir, you've been reported. Marcus stood under the restaurant's chandelier, wine staining his blazer, two security guards closing in. At the same time, a cop clicked open his cuffs. Across the table, Ava's notebook shook in her hands, her eyes warning him that this wasn't a misunderstanding. The room watched like it had paid for a show. He didn't know who planted the bracelet at his feet, or why a blind date meant as a joke for a single dad and a deaf girl was turning deadly. Stay with me. Welcome, story lovers. Where are you watching from? Hit the like button and drop your city name in the comments so we can see how far our story travels. Marcus. Hale had learned to live in margins. At 34, he was a black single dad in Briar Glen, a small river town that loved to call itself colorblind while keeping old lines freshly painted. His mornings started before sunrise in a rented duplex near the freight tracks. He packed lunches with one hand, tied 8-year-old Lily's shoelaces with the other, then drove across town to the auto body shop where he managed repairs. The work was honest and steady, and routine was his shield. Most evenings were small, soft victories. Marcus helped Lily with spelling words at the kitchen table, listening to her read while he simmered rice and beans. They took river walks on Sundays, counting turtles on logs and tossing crumbs for ducks. He kept his phone face down during bedtime stories so nothing from outside could pierce their quiet bubble. It wasn't glamorous, but it was theirs. Neighbors knew Marcus as polite and dependable. He coached Little League when the shop let him off early. He showed up for church cleanup days. Still, he felt the tightening in specific aisles, the careful smiles at PTA meetings, the way some customers spoke past him to a younger white mechanic. He rarely answered back. Keeping Lily safe and calm mattered more than winning arguments with strangers. That week, the owner's sister, Marlene, decided she was doing Marcus a favor by setting him up on a blind date. He tried to laugh it off, but Marlene was relentless, insisting he deserved company and that she knew the perfect match from her volunteer group at the community center. Marcus finally agreed just to stop the teasing. Maybe, he told himself, it could even be good. He didn't know Marlene's favor had already become a punchline. A few guys at the shop were joking about an experiment of pairing him with the deaf girl. They chose the Cedar House, a restaurant on the edge of town where old money and old habits gathered. Marcus only saw a chance to try something new. He didn't know the trap waiting under the tablecloths that night ahead. On Friday, Marcus ironed his only blazer, checked Lily's homework, and left her with a neighbor. Driving toward the Cedar House, he told himself to stay open. The hostess led him to a corner table near the piano. A few diners looked up a beat too long. His date arrived soon after. Her name was Ava Park, a Korean-American woman in her late 20s. She was deaf, greeting him with a warm smile and a small notebook. Marcus had never dated someone who communicated this way, but he wasn't nervous. They traded quick written notes, smiling at the clumsy rhythm of passing paper back and forth. Ava's steadiness made the room feel less sharp. Across the dining room, Marlene and two mechanics sat at the bar. Their phones kept lifting toward Marcus's table. The waiter approached without meeting Marcus's eyes. He placed Ava's menu neatly in front of her, then slid Marcus's to the far edge. When Marcus wrote his order so Ava could follow, the waiter sighed and said he'd try to manage. Small slights stacked fast. The waiter returned late with only one water glass. He asked Ava if her caretaker was paying. He brought the wrong entree twice, then joked to the following table that it was hard to serve people who don't communicate normally. Laughter drifted over. Ava's smile tightened. Marcus wrote, "I'm sorry," and she answered, "You didn't do this." A server clipped Marcus's chair and spilled red wine across his blazer, muttering that he didn't see him there. Marcus stayed still, feeling the old warning. Don't look angry. Don't give them a reason. At the bar, Marlene's group snickered. One man tilted his phone so friends could read a meme about charity dates. Marcus saw it, then saw Ava seeing it too. Her eyes asked what kind of night this was. Ava wrote, "This place isn't safe for either of us." Marcus nodded and signaled for the check. The waiter set the bill in front of Ava again, smirking. Marcus moved it to his side and placed his card on top. The waiter didn't pick it up. He leaned closer and said people like Marcus had to pay up front here. House policy. Marcus pulled cash from his wallet. The waiter took it and walked away without a receipt. Marcus felt Ava's tension beside him, and a familiar chill in his own gut. He knew how quickly a room could decide he was dangerous before he even spoke. Minutes passed. 2 security guards appeared and stopped at Marcus's table. One pointed to the floor. A silver bracelet lay near Marcus's shoe, not his and not Ava's. The guards said a guest reported a theft and cameras showed Marcus near the restroom. Police were coming. The dining room went quiet, eager for a spectacle. Phones rose openly. Marcus tried to explain calmly, making sure Ava could read his lips. Ava wrote, "They're framing you." His chest tightened as he replayed the night. The wine spill, the missing receipt, the hovering bar. None of it had been random. When the police walked in, they headed straight for Marcus. The lead officer flipped his ID as if he expected it to be fake. He said the bracelet was proof enough and reached for cuffs between white tablecloths and candlelight. Marcus inhaled slowly, thinking of Lily asleep across town and of every story he'd heard that ended with a siren and no return. He lifted both hands open and empty and asked the officer to check the cameras now. He asked for the receipt that the waiter had taken. His voice stayed level, each word a father's refusal to be swallowed by a lie. The officer scoffed and nodded to the guards. One grabbed Marcus's arm. As Marcus turned, the soaked blazer pulled tight, and something clinked against the chair leg. A second bracelet slid out from the inside seam, stuck there by the spilled wine. Gasps rippled through the room. Marcus stepped back, palms still up, letting it fall between them. Ava's face flashed from shock to fury. She pointed toward the bar and the waiter, her gestures sharp and confident. Her notebook landed on the table, planted. A woman nearby said she had seen the server bump Marcus after the spill. Another diner admitted he'd watched the waiter pocket something. No one could pretend to miss it. Phones that were raised for gossip now caught proof. Marlene rushed forward, pale, stammering that it was a prank. The silence turned to shame. The officer lowered his cuffs. The guard stepped away. Marcus stayed standing until Ava's hand rested on his sleeve. In that touch, he felt relief and the startling fact that he was still alive. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments. Outside, the air felt colder and cleaner than the dining room. The lead officer offered a stiff apology and blamed misinformation. Marcus didn't accept it. He asked for the manager for a written report and for the names of everyone involved. Ava stood beside him, typing notes on her phone for her advocacy group. By morning, diner videos were online. The wine spill, the planted bracelet, the officer reaching for cuffs. The Cedar House posted a statement about values, then fired the waiter and suspended security. The shop owner, called Marcus, was furious and ashamed. Marlene sent frantic apologies. Marcus didn't reply. He spent the weekend with Lily by the river, holding her hand and letting her talk about school. He didn't tell her every detail, but he named what had happened and why it was wrong. Lily asked why people would do that. Marcus had no neat answer, only the truth that some people protect their comfort by hurting others. Ava met him days later at the community center with tea and resources. They talked about how racism and ableism often travel together, and how silence can be forced on someone or chosen by bystanders. Marcus realized he'd spent years shrinking to keep Lily safe, when shrinking had never protected anyone. He kept living, but less quietly. He and Ava stayed friends, refusing to disappear again. If a town can turn a father's life into a joke in one evening, what jokes are we still letting survive in our own hearts?